already in the air and condenses it. However, for floods, for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes, all of them could be subject to weather modification.
Incredibly interesting, Professor Michio Kaku. Thank you so much.
Friends, thanks for tuning in. In this video, I'm going to show you some proof that Hurricane Irma and Jose are basically man-made with this technology that I'm about to show you. We're looking at NASA Worldview. Thank you very much, NASA, for providing us with these 24-hour images of planet Earth. This is the most current, September 8th, which is today, 2017, NASA Worldview. So this is not Photoshop. I'm not making anything up. Over here, just want to show you, does this look normal to you? Basically, these are frequency weapons, so to speak, or weather modification technology off the west coast of Africa on these islands. One island is Funchal, the other one is Santa Cruz, Tenerife. And you can see, so you can see this tiny little island, and you see all these spindles coming out of it. This is not normal, so this is not natural, and it's all going in this direction where currently Hurricane Jose and Hurricane Irma are about to hit the east coast, Florida. And over here we have more islands off the west coast of Africa over here. These are Santa Cruz Islands, and you can totally see the same kind of frequencies coming out of these islands. They're very small islands, and you can see these frequencies coming out of them because they have this technology there. And it's this technology, going to zoom out a little bit, is creating these spindles, so to speak, right? You can totally see all of these and all of these. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit. So where is it all going? So it's all creating pressure. It's going down here. This is the direction where it's going. And guess what we have here? We have Hurricane Jose right over here going right after Hurricane Irma. It's already over Cuba. Okay, so these are back to back, and these tiny little islands have technology that's creating this pressure and giving what I believe is more power to these huge tropical storms. Okay, so we're actually going to go back in time. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to see what's happening day by day. There's also a set of islands down here called Cabo Verde. Okay, so these islands down here too, although not active right now, or maybe partially active, they also have, see these islands? They also have this similar technology. And we're going to go back to September 7th. Nothing here, but let's look at the ones above. The ones above are pretty active. You can see the rays coming out from the points of these islands, and they're creating these spindles in the clouds, because these spindles represent frequencies that they're using to give power to these storms. Look at this island, the Funchal Island. It's covered by clouds, nothing here, and then you see these spindles coming out right from this island. Okay, I live in Hawaii, and you know, as you know, Hawaii is a set of islands. Nothing like that here. We never see this kind of weird spindles and just craziness over here, right? So all of these tiny islands, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see that there's a bunch of little islands here, and from each one there's some kind of frequency coming out. And where it's going? Well, like I showed you, it's going towards Jose, and we're going to go back in time to September 6th.
But no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. This time we're bringing in the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo-jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. And in the laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity.